Just to say, I've only got one working screen. So what that means is once I share the slides, I won't be able to see questions coming in. So Amanda's going to effectively field them. If anyone's got any kind of specific questions or you would like a further discussion on this, happy to follow up after the meeting. And yeah, we'll sort of make a start. So I'll just share my screen and I'll ask Amanda to make sure that we can see things, and then we'll be good to go. Right, let's just start this. Amanda, can you confirm we can see that?
Yep, I can see it. We just need the slideshow.
Brilliant. Just 1 second. There we go. Right. Okay.
Perfect.
So done the welcome already. We'll move straight in. People may have seen this slide before, and we like to demonstrate the size and complexity of the government estate. And I think that this slide really kind of paints a picture of what it is we're dealing with. So the sheer size in terms of square meterage, as well as number of built assets, and the number that you see there, so the 141,600, that does not include authority. So when you actually paint a picture of that, that actually rises to over 300,000. You need to actually just go around this slide just to really understand what we're sort of dealing with here. So we've got things around defence, which are complex. We've obviously got prisons within MOJ, the courts and tribunals as well. We've got other complications as well in the government estate in terms of many of these assets are sort of the heart centre of communities, whether that's from a school or a hospital, obviously providing life-saving treatment. It really isn't as simple as just kind of managing an office estate. So I just really wanted to get it out there, how complex the challenges are in the government estate. I'll keep moving through. What I want to do first is just to talk about some of the more sort of stringent requirements that we need to achieve. And what I'll do is focus on decarbonisation first. So the first legal requirement I want to talk about is the Climate Change Act. And effectively what that is asking that we achieve net zero by 2050, and that's subject to the 1990 baseline. There are other sort of milestones within that we need to achieve, but these are through the Net Zero Strategy 2021 completed by DESNZ or BEIS at the time, and that's a 50% reduction by 2032 and a 75% reduction by 2037. As we've mentioned here, yes, it does cover the government estate, and it is a complex challenge. We are doing lots of things to try and reach this target, but there is further work to do. And what I'll do is talk about specifics around the work that we're doing in the later slides. We've also got a number of different strategies that help us on this journey. The first one being the government property strategy, which is an overarching strategy which sits across government. And underneath that, we've got two separate strategies. One of them is the government property sustainability strategy, which I'm going to focus a little bit on. And the other is the FM strategy, which obviously has huge linkages in terms of the work that we're doing. When you look at the box on the right, we do have a focus on greenhouse gas emissions in the greening government commitments. And for anyone who's not aware, happy to talk about that in a bit more detail, but the greening government commitments are a set of targets which government departments are required to deliver. Reporting on those is mandatory, and really happy to go into a little bit more detail if people would like to find out information around that. The GGCA, which is around decarbonisation, covers direct, so scope 1. There's also government targets which cover scope 2, and we will share these slides after this meeting. If you click on Annex H, that actually outlines specific government targets around decarbonisation. We've got other requirements that we need to meet as well, which are much wider than just decarbonisation. So they cover things like biodiversity net gain, adaptation to climate change, resource efficiency, so on and so forth. So I'll just talk about a couple of these in a little bit of detail. So the first one being the Environment Act, and there is a legal requirement for that. So that's classed as new major developments, and there's a requirement to improve biodiversity net gain by 10% just for major developments. That will absolutely cover government buildings, and there's some great things that have been going on. Really happy to share some key case studies in this area. We also have some other requirements around things such as EPC ratings, so energy performance certificates. So for example, the functional standards, so Gov 004, it requires new acquisitions for government to be in the upper quartile, so a rating of B43 at present. We have some other requirements that are coming in soon. Well, they're due by 27 and 2030, and they cover the minimum energy efficiency standards, so MEES. It covers the leasehold estate, and there are some departments that have a huge number of leasehold buildings, DWP being one of them, but there are others. We're currently working on an internal strategy of how we best manage the government's transition to minimum energy efficiency standards, but we know there is significant work to be undertaken between now and the initial deadline of 27. We do believe that they're going to be pushed back by a year through work that we were doing prior to the new government, but nothing's been announced formally. Really happy to keep people posted on new developments. I previously mentioned the GGCs and focused on commitment A, which is around decarbonisation, but we've got several others from B to G in addition. They do absolutely cover the government estate for obvious reasons. They are for the government estate. Happy to talk about any of these commitments in a bit more detail, but just to sort of outline that as OGP, we lead on commitment F, which is around adaptation to climate change. And what we're currently doing now is working through levels of ambition, key metrics, so that we effectively have something which is more challenging, kind of easier in terms of sort of maintaining and QAing, and that's looking to be launched by April next year. So just in terms of some of the things that we've got within the Office of Government Property to support people in their sustainability journey, we are working with HMT on the multi-year spending review, and we've also worked with them on this rollover, which obviously is the current spending review period. We've shared our tools and guidance, and we're supporting departments on their journey in terms of their business cases. Won't go into all of these in huge detail on this slide for the simple reason they've got their own, but these are some four key bits of guidance and tools to help people in their journey. So we've got something called the Property Emissions Reduction Calculator. It does not roll off the tongue. We call it PERC for short. It's easier to consume that way, but effectively what this tool does is it allows departments to understand where they are on their decarbonisation journey. So it works with live building level data and energy data. And what departments can also do is plug in kind of different interventions. So for example, let's say we're talking about a singular building. It can work as a singular or a campus style approach. For a suite of buildings, if we install air source heat pumps, we have Green Book calculations which links to costs. We can understand what that will mean in terms of rough cost and where that brings the decarbonisation down to, and where we're looking in terms of our journey to the interim and net zero target of 2050. Really helpful tool. Sorry, I went too fast there. Really happy to talk to people individually about this. Please reach out to me if you would like some help on this or know where to find it. Moving on, we've got the Net Zero Estate Playbook, which is a great piece of guidance, which was published a couple of years ago, and it is in the process of being revamped and brought up to modern day standards for today. What this effectively does is brings together a range of disparate guidance, but it also includes new things that have come on stream in recent months, such as the recent PSDS guidance related to which ESC have completed for DESNZ. It's a great guide. We've had some great feedback, and if anyone needs it, I will direct you to the link on that through the slides. If anyone has any feedback on that, please feel free to get in touch. We'd be delighted to hear from you. Nature recovery guidance is ready to be launched any day now. We've been producing that over the last few months, and it effectively helps departments provide a unified approach to nature recovery. So there's some micro and some huge examples in there of how people can achieve best practice through nature recovery. Something we're really proud of is something we completed about 18 months ago, which is the Estates Adaptation Framework. So through the work that we've undertaken on our Property Sustainability Board, the feedback we were getting from departments was they were quite far advanced in their sort of journey around other items such as decarbonisation. But when it came to adaptation to climate change, and particularly the work around the GGC, many departments were feeding back that they were likely to have to engage consultants. So we just wondered if we could effectively create a framework which all departments could utilise, which they have. So we've created this framework. Again, there's a link to it on the property community on this slide. If anyone's got any questions on that, please reach out to me or Patrick Heron in my team, who's currently looking after this. We'd be delighted to help you or just talk you through it. It's an interactive guide which supports departments in completing their climate change risk assessment and adaptation action plan. It's an interactive guide with an interactive spreadsheet, and it is a really easy to use format. And yet any feedback on that would be very, very gratefully received. The last one is, I just wanted to have a bit of a plug on the property community. So we've got some people that are really, really great users of this. It was launched probably about over a year ago now, but it's only as good as what people put into this. So I'd really like to kind of up the ante with this property community, particularly around sustainability, with interactive forums, sharing of best practice, and really getting people involved to deliver the very, very best in sustainability, because we've got some huge challenges to deliver. I'll move on to the next slide. This is just a link of some of the aspects from the property community. You've got a handy QR code that you can scan and get easy access into there. And yeah, so that's my bit. I will pause for any questions that have come up in the chat, Amanda. Otherwise, happy to jump straight onto your bit.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Clara.
Yeah.
So the PREC, where is it available?
Oh, yes, that is available on the government property community. We'll share the slides after it, and we'll make a specific link in the email as well. So yeah, not a problem at all. Any questions, please come back to me. And over to you, Amanda. I'll drive whilst you're doing this, if that's okay.
Okay, that's great. So thanks so much. So today I'm just going to take you through a bit of our learning offer, but also some resources that we use, such as our career framework, in terms of being and obtaining accreditation as a sustainability professional. So we'll take a look at that. And if we can move on to the next slide, that would be great. So the government property profession, essentially, we are enablers. So what we do within our team is provide the opportunities for people to develop their careers, essentially. So you can come to us for accreditation needs, apprenticeships. We have an exciting opportunity coming out for an apprenticeship within sustainability, which is great. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. We also help with recruitment and resourcing for property professionals. So there's a whole bunch of things that we're responsible for in terms of ensuring that you've got all the right information that you need to continue to develop your career. Next slide, please. So some of you may have seen this. Can I get a show of hands how many people have perhaps used this before? Yep. Excellent. Would anybody care to share, what they've used it for in the past, or how they've used the framework? Anyone want to share? No pressure. That's absolutely fine, not to worry. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this document, this is available on gov.uk, and we'll definitely make sure that we send this out to you. This is also available on our portal, which will be a key resource for you if you're not already using it. So our career framework essentially has been built and designed for people to have a clear pathway for their career. So just a couple uses for it, I would say. First, as an individual, using this tool is helpful if you're wanting to look for your career path or not sure, what skill set or accreditations that you would need. It can also be used from a management perspective to build job descriptions, as I've just noticed in the chat. Thank you. That's great. to build job descriptions and really get an understanding of the responsibilities that you'll require from your team and perhaps identify any gaps. And for me personally, I think just being able to use it when you are also applying for jobs, because there's a lot of useful tools in there that can help you shape some of your competencies. So I'll show you that in a moment. But what we've done is broken the roles down into job families to kind of group them all together with similar characteristics and areas of work. So I will say that this is a live working document, and this will be continually evolving. So we collect information across government to understand headcounts and what roles are available and what roles are being filled and the key skills that sit within those roles so that we can then tailor our learning solutions and our tools to help people develop their careers. So this is undergoing a whole review at the moment to get another career framework up and running with a brand new skills taxonomy, essentially, that'll be integrated into this as well. So for the purposes of today, I'm going to show you the example of someone working in environment and sustainability. So that's grouped under technical specialisms and assurance. So that's down in the bottom green area. And what you'll see across the top is the different levels that you may or may not be at in your career. So it's kind of the route from, beginning to senior leadership, essentially. So the dots that you see that sit under each of these categories will actually take you to where you want to go, like the role detail for each of these positions outlined here. So once you click on that dot, you'll then be directed to the next page. Sorry. So it's quite an interactive document. So when we send you a copy, you'll see for yourself that you're able to interact with it and be guided to the section that you're looking for. All right. So, excuse me. Next slide, please. So once you were to click on that green dot, it'll take you to the role summary page. So the top section pertains to environmental sustainability roles. So the role summary there is a general synopsis, essentially, of the types of things, responsibilities, knowledge, and skills that someone would acquire for being in this type of role. Okay, so we then further break it down by foundation practitioner to senior practitioner. So in the descriptions down there, this is a good part to either like build your competencies, like when you're writing for job applications or you're writing job descriptions, and just gaining an understanding of, okay, so I'm currently a foundation practitioner. What else do I need to do in my career to progress to practitioner and so forth? So that's the general use of that particular page. We can move on to the next one, please. So this section here aligns the experience. So for, let's say, senior practitioner, you can see by the time that you've progressed through your career, there's quite a substantial amount of expertise that would be expected of someone in this role. So it's good to kind of have that insight, if you're kind of planning your career pipeline. Okay, well, I need to start thinking about this. How do I achieve certain accreditations? What else do I need to do to continue to progress? So if we move on to the next page, I just want to draw attention to the middle boxes. So that's for accreditation. So right now we're working with heads of departments to really understand, what are the barriers for people achieving accreditation? And how can we as the profession support people through their career? So as you'll see, as you progress, the different qualifications that are required and the different accreditations that are required at certain levels. So, for example, in a senior practitioner role, for property-specific roles, we would like to see someone with a chartered environmentalist status and then, or sorry, accreditation. There's various ways in which you can achieve this accreditation. So we work closely with IEMA, which I'm sure a lot of you are probably already familiar with. So we work quite closely with them. So we run a supported program, which I'll talk about shortly, to help people achieve that. But there are different ways, such as the academic route and various accrediting bodies. So not to feel pigeonholed and, oh, I've definitely got to get it through IEMA. We recognize that there are absolutely different ways to achieve that. But this kind of helps kind of getting me thinking about, you know, what do I need to do to get there and achieve that accreditation. All right, next page, please. So some of our standard offers, so we offer carbon literacy. I think some of you on the call have actually attended the carbon literacy training that I run. If you haven't already, please feel free to join up. There's another session in November. But what this does is bring about awareness in the carbon footprint and really focuses on the actions that we can take to reduce that. So it doesn't actually have to be for environmental professionals. There's loads of people that are quite new to sustainability, such as myself, that attend this course to gain that awareness and also be able to gain, sorry, that accreditation, because it is an accredited course for a train the trainer model. So what I mean by that is once you attend the course, you pass the assessment, which is a written statement and about your actions and pledges that you'll make to change some of your behaviors. Then you will technically be certified to be able to deliver that course across your department. You would have to purchase the toolkit, but if you would like further information on this, happy to also send that link out when we follow up. It's a very popular course, so I'd recommend giving it a go if you'd like to join. Something else that was pretty cool that we've recently done is we joined a water literacy pilot. So that was developed by Northumbrian Water and WaterWise. So that course was focused on water scarcity within the UK. And it was the very, very similar model to carbon literacy. That's where they kind of took their structure from. So we ran an internal pilot ourselves to put sustainability professionals from across government on that course and then get their feedback to see if this is something that would be a viable option as a core offering. And it received really good feedback from people because a lot of comments were water tends to fall by the wayside when it comes to sustainability. People often view it as a limited resource, where in fact it's not. So there's a lot of good, solid points in there, and you can also customize it for your particular organization, which I also think is a great benefit as well. So we're currently in talks right now with WaterWise to understand if we might be able to run some lunch and learns, so then you all could have an idea or a taster of what this course entails, and then you could decide, make the decision there if you wanted to run something like this for your departments. So yeah, that's that. I'm just going to check the chat. Is there any questions? Because I hear some beeping coming up. Let's see. Yep. Business had
Hi.
previously planned. Hi.
Hi, Amanda. It's Mia. I was just putting in a comment about the water literacy training, which was really, really great course. Learned an awful lot and a real eye-opener. So I would really recommend if anybody has an interest in doing it, that they take up the offer because it was really great.
Good. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. That was a great plug. So yes, what Mia said. It was a good experience. So yeah, stay tuned. And again, linking back to our portal, that's where you would be able to find out about these types of offerings. So definitely stay tuned, because we'll make an announcement once we've decided how we're going to work with them as well. Perfect. I think there's a question in the chat from Jamie Ross, and I think maybe you might be better suited to handle that.
Yep, sure.
Did you want to take a look at that?
Should we maybe sort of deal with that at the end, only because
Sure.
I'm sort of driving with the slideshow,
Yeah.
if that's okay, Amanda?
Absolutely, no worries. Okay, so we can continue on. Another course that we're currently in the process of evaluating and assessing if we'll make it part of our core offering is the new RICS Global Intro to Whole Life Carbon Assessment. So this would be suitable for people on an introductory level, so not people that require the highly technical skills for carbon assessment. So we're looking to actually launch a pilot with about 8 people or so. We're going to put an offer out on our portal to see who would be interested in joining something like this, and then providing us that feedback to see if this was something suitable. So stay tuned for that. That is also coming out. Next slide. Thank you. So we do have some offerings as well from UKGBC. These are all free resources on our portal as well. I would say these are probably more tailored to those looking to build awareness in sustainability. So if you're quite advanced or quite experienced, these probably wouldn't be suitable for you. But if you're running a team and there's new people around, there's some free resources there that are linked to UKGBC for free guides, and there's a whole bunch of different events that are hosted on there. There's also the Sustainability Essentials for the Built Environment course. So that's actually an email course, and they newly designed that, I think, at the beginning of this year. So you can complete it at your own pace, which is quite good. So I'd encourage you to check it out. And if you do want to sign up for it and your organization doesn't have a membership with UKGBC, feel free to pop your name on there and I'll pass it over to UKGBC and you can do it free of charge. So that will fall under Office of Government Properties membership. So please feel free to check that out as well. So we'll move on to the next slide, please. Perfect. So this is our opportunity to help people achieve the Chartered Environmentalist status. So this is a program that we're launching, and we actually have an information session coming up on Monday about this, if this is something that you're interested in. So to give you some background, last year we ran a pilot and we supported, I think there was 11 or 12 people that went through the program. So we ran a structured program and made the offer out to people to see if they wanted to join. So what this program does is gives you that supported route to achieve your accreditation. So essentially it offers a number of networking events, master classes on how to write your submission, how to best perform in your interview, and also work with your peers to gain that support and ask questions. And IEMA and myself will run the individual sessions together. So it's about a 5-month program. Excuse me, sorry. 5-month program where we have a number of events, virtual events that you can drop into. So if that sounds of interest to you, there's some entry route requirements. So typically what we see is people who have over 4 years of significant professional experience in sustainability are suitable for this, solely because in the assessment stage for a full membership of IEMA, the participants need to be able to demonstrate those core competencies and skills that are required to achieve that full membership. So Although 4 years isn't a hard and fast rule, it's a kind of like a guideline. But if you don't fit within that 4 years category, however, you do have significant experience, then please feel free to come along and apply for it as well. So the job role, you would have a core role in environment sustainability, and you must be within property. So at some level in property, because we are the Office of Government Property. So the spaces that we'll be supporting will be for sustainability property professionals as well. Okay. So typically we see grade SEO and above that are quite suited for this particular program. And prior to joining the program, there is a selection process. So what will happen is we'll open a window of expression of interest because it is a popular program and we are funding the spots for people. We'll need to offer it to 10 people. So it will be a bit of a competitive process if that's something that you're interested in. So there'll be a 250 word statement of interest, essentially, along with your CV. And myself and the sustainability team will evaluate people who are suitable for the course and take forward 10 people for the program. So with that, it is a commitment to make sure that you're attending the sessions and getting the most value out of the program. We want to make sure that we're giving you that full experience. So this information session is going to be on Monday at 12 with myself and Aima. So I think if you want to come along, I'll also send that link out as well. And please feel free to come and ask your questions. All right. You can continue on. Thank you. So this is the apprenticeship that I was talking about earlier. So we're offering a level 7 sustainability business specialist apprenticeship in partnership with UCEM. So they developed this program and we had, I think it's in its first year already. So I believe that's already had its first year and it was quite successful. So what we've done is developed our own internal working group to evaluate the modules and help UCEM tailor it to sustainability professionals, but also the challenges that are quite unique to working in government as sustainability professionals in the built environment. So that's all been approved. Everything's kind of up and running at the moment. So please feel free to reach out to our apprenticeships partner. I'll also include that follow-up after as well. So if you have any questions on that, our colleague Becky will be able to help you. So the program itself is designed as a leadership program within sustainability. So ultimately, it's suitable for SEOs and grade 7s. And it really is going to help us kind of build that pipeline of professionals seeking senior roles within sustainability in the civil service. So if this is of interest to you, please let us know. We're happy to support you on that. And next slide. So essentially, one of the key ways that you can get involved is registering for the portal. Again, that link will come straight out to you. I presume a lot of you have already registered for the portal because you've come here today probably through the portal, but please try and make the most of it. The forums tab is something that we're really trying to build a community of sustainability professionals within there. So please feel free to jump on, poke around, ask your questions, start a chat, because it's yours to use essentially for your sustainability space. So just to note as well, once you do sign up for the portal, you're automatically signed up for the newsletter. So that's where you'll also get announcements of all of our events and programs and supported schemes that we're launching, such as the IEMA program as well. And again, please feel free to use the career framework. Stay tuned for the next version of that, which will be a little bit more representative of the different roles across government within sustainability as well, as we continue to gather the information to make it even better. And then myself, please feel free to also reach out to me as a resource. Happy to help support you in anything you need. And if I don't know the answer, I can definitely point you in the right direction or find out. And that is me. Thank you. So I guess now we should open it up for questions. And I think the first one in the chat was from Jamie, I believe. So Ross, can you see the chat now?
Yes, just looking at that now. Jamie, did you want to come in and talk a little bit about your question, just as I'm reading this?
Yeah, just to explain to everybody. DESNZ, and it may have even been BEIS originally, were planning to phase out off-gas grid fossil fuel heating systems, both domestic and commercial. And there were tentative plans for coal, oil and LPG gas over the next few years. It's gone very quiet, so I'm assuming it's not happening. But is there any? Do we know of anything behind the scenes? Any conversations that are still happening? Consultations that are planned?
Not that I'm presently aware of, but interestingly, I'm speaking to DESNZ tomorrow, so very happy to sort of follow this question up. So really, thank you for the prompt. So quite timely, and yeah, I'm very happy to follow up with you afterwards, Jamie, if that's okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Brilliant. Is there any further questions from anyone? Actually, Ross, it might be helpful if you could share a bit about your experience for those interested in the Chartered Environmentalist program.
Yeah, of course, very happy to do that. So I achieved full IEMA membership and Chartered Environmentalist status about just over a year ago. And I sort of did mine sort of independently rather than through the kind of the cohort that Amanda's talking about. It's not that it takes a huge amount of time. It's probably about a good 6 months. But sort of doing it independently is definitely more difficult. And I think I look back and I think I would have really valued sort of doing something like this with like-minded individuals and really kind of getting that bespoke support, really. So my advice to people doing this is it's challenging. Not only do you have to really kind of work through your previous experiences, you really need to make sure that you're as gendered up as possible in terms of the policy landscape. So even things like the UN Sustainable Development Goals, just really understanding which ones you're working within. Also, in addition to that as well, for me, so the role that I'm in now is much more of a strategy sort of role within the Office of Government Property. And I think the sort of strength of my application was the fact that I was able to merge that with the practical experience that I had through renewable install. So I installed lots of external solid wall insulation systems on domestic properties. I led a number of programs around solar PV, boilers, insulation. I could talk about kind of working in kind of lower socioeconomic areas, the challenges related to trying to tackle field poverty and lots of other things. I'm not able to come to the session that Amanda's got next week, but I'm really happy to follow up with anyone on a one-on-one if this is something you're interested in kind of applying for. I'm away for a week and a half from Friday, but if you'd like to speak to me about this, please reach out. And indeed, if you've got any questions now, really, really happy to answer them.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Ross. Anyone else want to share anything? Ask away. No? Oh, there we go.
Just in time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
Thanks. I've popped a question in the chat. It was just a question about the EPC ratings. My understanding is obviously we've got the legislation that dictates the need for an EPC, and we've got the MEES regulations now. The need to be C by 27 and B by 30 was a white paper consultation. I don't believe that's been passed into law yet. So I think the MEES stipulation is only to be E and above. I just wonder if you heard anything different, because obviously I'm keeping a quite close eye on that, because it will drive a lot of investment, a lot of requirements and a lot of capital need. So obviously people are asking for the absolute definitive legal point.
Yeah, I don't think it is a full legal point at the moment, Alan, but we are being led to believe it's we think it's going to come on stream. So what we're having to do is kind of work on a basis of preparedness, but completely understand your point. We particularly need to work with kind of our leasehold partners on this if it is coming into effect. There's nothing to say that we don't think it'll happen, but you're absolutely right. We're working on the knowledge that we've got at the moment, so that's really helpful for people. Thank you.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, if there's no more questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Ross with anything else. And again, we'll send you our contact information and a follow-up from the session. Perfect.
Lovely. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye.